Have you ever felt that you are always there for everyone, but no one is there for you? Do you constantly cancel your own plans just to help people who do not even appreciate your time? You might believe that saying yes to every request makes you a good, kind, and loyal person. But if you constantly give your time and energy away, you will eventually have nothing left for yourself. Being too available does not make people respect you more. It actually makes them value you less. When you never say no, people start treating your massive sacrifices as completely normal expectations. True kindness does not mean destroying your own peace just to keep everybody else perfectly comfortable. You must learn the profound and life-changing power of protecting your own personal boundaries. In a quiet, sunlit village at the edge of a deep forest, there lived a young carpenter named Aris. Aris was incredibly skilled, possessing the unique ability to fix almost any broken thing in the town. Because he had such a gentle and giving heart, he never charged anyone for his extra labor. If a neighbor's roof was leaking in the middle of the night, Aris would run over to repair it. If a farmer broke his wooden cart, Aris would stay awake until sunrise, making sure it was completely fixed. He always said yes, believing that his endless generosity would earn him deep love and lifelong respect. But as the long months turned into years, a heavy, silent exhaustion began to completely consume him. Because he was always fixing other people's homes, his own small wooden house began to slowly fall apart. The hinges on his front door were badly broken, and the paint on his walls was completely peeling away. His beautiful garden, which he once loved so much, was overgrown with thick, ugly weeds. One cold and bitter morning, a terrible winter storm swept rapidly through the quiet village. Aris had spent the entire night running from house to house, repairing everyone else's damaged windows. When he finally returned to his own home, shivering and freezing, he found a complete disaster. The heavy wind had torn the roof off his small shed, ruining all of his precious, expensive tools. Desperate and exhausted, Aris ran into the village square, begging his neighbors for some help. But the very people he had served for years suddenly gave him endless, empty excuses. One man said he was simply too tired, while another claimed he had to stay inside with his family. Standing alone in the freezing rain, Aris felt a sharp, painful betrayal break his giving heart. He realized that they did not actually love him. They only loved how incredibly useful he was to them. Heartbroken and completely drained, Aris walked up the steep mountain to visit an old stonemason named Cedric. Cedric lived in a beautiful, perfectly maintained cottage surrounded by a strong, tall stone wall. The old man welcomed the shivering carpenter inside, handing him a warm cup of herbal tea. Aris sat by the roaring fire and cried, explaining how he had given absolutely everything to the village. "I do not understand why I am suffering," Aris whispered. "I have never once said no to anyone in need." Cedric looked at the young man with deep, knowing eyes and let out a long, heavy sigh. "That is exactly why you are sitting here with a broken home and an empty spirit," the wise man replied. Cedric stood up and walked over to a large, beautiful wooden barrel full of fresh, clean water. He took a heavy iron axe and violently smashed a dozen small holes into the sides of the barrel. The precious water immediately began to leak out, pouring rapidly onto the hard stone floor. "What are you doing?" Aris shouted in panic, trying desperately to cover the holes with his bare hands. "You are losing all of your water," and soon the barrel will be completely empty and useless." Cedric gently pulled the young man's hands away and pointed to the leaking, broken barrel. "This barrel is your life, Aris, and every hole is a time you said yes when you should have said no. You are letting your time, your energy, and your health leak out to anyone who simply asks for it. If you do not patch these holes, you will completely drain yourself until you have absolutely nothing left to give." Aris stared at the empty barrel, feeling the incredible heavy truth of the old man's powerful words. "But if I say no," Aris asked quietly, "will the village not think that I am selfish and cruel?" Cedric placed a warm, heavy hand on Aris's tired shoulder and smiled a very gentle smile. "A river without banks is just a destructive flood, but a river with strong boundaries provides life to everything. Saying no does not mean you are selfish. It means you respect your own life enough to protect it. When you finally stop being available for everyone, you will see who truly values your actual presence." Aris left the warm cottage that evening with a completely new understanding of his own immense worth. He returned to his broken house and spent the next 3 days doing something he had never done before. He locked his front gate, ignored the loud knocking on his door, and finally rebuilt his own roof. On the 4th day, a wealthy merchant came to his house, demanding that Aris build him a new table immediately. Aris looked the man directly in the eyes, took a very deep breath, and said a single, powerful word. "No," Aris said calmly. "I am focusing on my own home right now, and I am not available today." The merchant was absolutely shocked, his face turning red with sudden anger and pure confusion. He turned and stormed away, muttering insults, but Aris did not feel guilty or sad at all. Instead, a massive heavy weight lifted off his chest, and he felt an incredible rush of true freedom. Over the next few weeks, Aris continued to politely but firmly decline requests that drained his energy. At first, the villagers were highly offended, whispering behind his back and calling him arrogant. But because Aris was no longer fixing everyone's minor problems, they were forced to learn how to fix things themselves. Slowly, a very strange and beautiful shift happened within the quiet, sunlit village. Because Aris's time was now rare and highly protected, people began to treat him with immense respect. When he finally did choose to help someone, they no longer expected it. They were incredibly grateful for it. They started offering to pay him fairly for his hard work, realizing his skills were highly valuable. Aris's house became the most beautiful home in the town, and his garden bloomed with bright, colorful flowers. He was no longer a tired, exhausted servant to his neighbors. He was a respected master of his own craft. This simple story holds a remarkably urgent lesson for anyone who struggles with being a constant people pleaser. Every time you say yes to something you hate, you are actively saying no to your own happiness. You are telling your subconscious mind that everyone else's needs are far more important than your own. But you cannot pour out a refreshing drink from a cup that is already completely empty and dry. Setting strong boundaries is the absolute highest form of self-love and essential personal respect. Some people will definitely get angry when you stop letting them use you for their own convenience. Let them be angry, because their negative reaction is simply proof that the boundary was deeply necessary. The people who truly love you will completely respect your right to say no and protect your peace. The people who only loved what you could do for them will slowly, naturally fade away from your life. Stop giving discounts on your precious energy to people who do not even value your immense worth. Your time on this earth is incredibly limited, and it is a currency you can never, ever earn back. Start treating your daily focus like an extremely expensive treasure that only a few deserve to see. When you finally stop being easily available to everyone, your presence becomes a powerful, valuable gift. You are allowed to rest, you are allowed to be selfish with your time, and you are allowed to heal. If someone asks for a favor that ruins your peace, look them in the eye and decline it gracefully. You do not owe the world a massive explanation for choosing to protect your own mental health. Saying no is a complete sentence, and it is the master key to unlocking a truly peaceful life. Reclaim your power today. Patch the leaking holes in your barrel and start building your own beautiful house. Your true friends will gladly stay. Your life will slowly transform, and your mind will finally be free. Stop breaking yourself into tiny pieces just to keep other people completely whole. The most important yes you will ever say in this lifetime is the courageous yes you finally say to yourself. Stand firm in your decisions and never let the temporary guilt trick you into abandoning your boundaries. The guilt will eventually pass, but the immense peace you gain will stay with you forever. It is time to step out of the shadows of constantly serving others and step into your own incredible light. Choose your own well-being today and watch how beautifully the universe begins to respect you. Remember that you are absolutely worthy of the same boundless love and care that you always give to others. Take a deep breath, close your gate, and fiercely protect the brilliant, beautiful life you are meant to live.